call your neighbors, your friends, and make sure they join in. So for that, you need to get to our social media handles. Souq News TV on all platforms and be part of the conversation today. Now let's hit it in. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks, and with me on this particular drive today are the three best human beings you just want to sit and converse with. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, join me to my right, the very right I mean. Pray.
Hello, Chooks.
Souq Business Landscape.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm Oyinpreye Krumale. It's another beautiful day.
A beautiful day, you say. Yeah, to the other extreme left, not just the left, we have Moyo, one of Lagos.
That's right. Thank you so much for having me. Moyosore Adebiyi here.
Okay, Moyosore Adebiyi.
Yes.
Now, to the most beautiful of them all, please join me as I welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm Omobola Sandra. I just want to ask, how's your weekend?
My weekend was weekend.
Wow.
Without the ing.
That sounded very...
I'm not sure if you meant wicked.
Wicked.
It was wicked good, yeah?
Without the ing. Welcome. And now we'll be looking at these 4 stories. I will just get to push them out. Then we'll come and take them individually, like one after the other. Now, in the last 1 month, the CBN has been working on a policy that will involve those living outside Nigeria, so we prefer calling them those in diaspora, even if it's just Niger Republic, stone throw away, to be part of our banking sector. And that has given fruit to a policy that is working as we speak. CBN has made sure that barriers that were stopping those outside there to be part of this is gone. So secondly, we'll be looking at Dangote. Dangote has gone up to partner with Niger State Government on rice production. It's been long-term coming. We'll also look at that and talk about it. Then the federal government has approved the dredging of Lekki Port. That's to expand it. We'll give you the details. And lastly, we'll be looking at Nigeria to commission 2 lithium plants this year. You heard that right. Now, for this and every of the story, we will look at ourselves and talk, and we will really talk. Now, let's get straight to the first one. CBN. CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, has introduced the Non-Resident Bank Verification Number, NRBVN, a new digital identity system that removes 7 key banking barriers for Nigerians living abroad. This innovation ends the era of mandatory physical presence for account setup, offering secure remote access to banking services and linking Nigerians in the diaspora directly to the financial system through their phones or computers. Now, let's bring this story home. Before now, those living outside this country, they had to try their best. Either when they come for holidays, they'll get to a bank and open up an account, get a BVN, which was one of the major rules before you can open an account. Yeah. That's after 2023. Then it became mandatory by 2024. They said before April, May, if you don't have a BVN, your account should be closed. Now, is it done? That we don't know. But now, let's talk about this particular one. Do you see positivities in what CBN has done? Bola?
Of course I do.
Put a smile on your face.
Of course I do, and I am super, super excited about this particular initiative. And this is due to the fact that I have loved ones abroad, and I know the hustle.
You mean we have loved ones abroad? Your loved ones are my loved ones.
Okay.
I don't know, but it's okay. We'll take that. Right? Let's just move with that. No, but seriously, I have loved ones abroad who have had big issues. Moving funds. There's a particular family member of mine who, as it is now, still has money stuck in a bank because he cannot physically be present to attend to certain issues on that bank account. He has written a letter, he has sent emails for another person to stand in proxy of him, but it has been one bottleneck or the other. So I think this would go a long way for the individuals, for family members who have been tasked with, handling finances of loved ones abroad, and also for individuals abroad where you had to trust your family members with funds and then they did misappropriated or misused these funds. It's an advantage for them as well. And also for Nigeria, because hopefully banks would now focus on, diaspora and customized accounts and that would, lead to remittances for Nigeria as well. So we can also make money from diasporans as well. So I think it's a big one, it's a big leap, and I'm super excited about it.
Okay, now we have two major organizations, two major sectors that will be leading this. First, our local banks and the international money transfer organizations, all the ones that Nigerians pay some fee to get this going. Do you see a possibility where those living abroad, just like Bola said, you don't need a Danladi, Adamu, Chuks, or Debo to finish your banking for you on this side? You can also do it directly, deal with whoever you want to deal with outside. With this coming into play, do you think they will be spending more, having to pay whoever is going to transfer?
I think the whole idea of this is to make things easier.
Okay.
So obviously they're gonna have to cut some of those things that make it stressful. I mean, this is diaspora banking. It's a major part of banking, especially for Nigeria, a country that gets 19.5 billion in remittances a year. It's a huge part of how people even live here in Nigeria. So it's going to take away some of that stress, right? I think my major problem here is because, everything has to be digital now. So we have to cater in ensuring that, cybersecurity is very important. So people don't just start hacking people's money, because that's another outlet. So these are things that we're going to have to talk about, but it is a fantastic idea. I think it's very important that, we bring it all home and we bring it in, because a lot of families right now, a lot of homes depend on, remittances from abroad.
Yes, but just an addendum to that, or just to buttress what he just said, as regards challenges that could arise with this particular initiative, he said something as regards digital. Now, we know how digital has gone in Nigeria. Do we have the right infrastructure for that? A few years ago, when the Japa syndrome, skyrocketed, and you had there was a massive defection of IT individuals from the banking sector abroad. And then with that, massive defection, you had a lot of IT people moving, jackpine, let me put it that way. And with the IT people jackpine, the banks had big issues that they had to deal with. And then had last year, all of these banks had to do some certain upgrade where, for months on end, a lot of banks had issues. People couldn't access their funds, and there was negative on a lot of people's accounts and all of that. So my major concern now, based on what he has said, would be, do we have the digital infrastructure to handle the amount of work that is incoming? Because we have millions of people. We have a JAPA problem. So that means that we have more diasporans every year, every day, every month. Okay, you
are seeing the problem, we are seeing the profit.
I saw the profit when you asked me. I said it's a big one. I'm super excited about it. But I think that they should also pay attention to the digital infrastructure. Do we have what it takes? Because by the time the remittances start coming in, it's a lot of work for the IT guys in those banks. Are those banks ready
to handle it?
Can they keep up?
They should better be ready. Now, let me get to you, Priye. We've seen countries like India, Pakistan, a lot of those Asian bloc countries. They started this long way before us, and they had this plan on ground. And we've seen the way it has really influenced their economy. We've seen the amount of, I won't call it foreign direct investment, but it's local. They've localized it. And the citizens outside the country feel safe with their monies in these banks. So if you were to be the CBN governor now, how will you assure a Chikodi in China that his money that he's sending home through his own account is safe, not in his brother's hand?
Okay, first of all, 2023 Nigeria foreign remittances, diaspora remittances to the country, moved to about more than 20 billion dollars. And in 2024, because due to some economic indices, it fluctuated down to $19.44 billion. Okay, through what means were we able to achieve that?
International money transfer.
International money transfer, we're able to achieve those sort of
remittances. The ones you were calling their names earlier on.
Yes, achieve their remittances to Nigeria.
And then those that were coming cash.
We didn't use the normal NRBVN, the non-resident bank verification number. It wasn't in operation then. They used instruments like Small World, MoneyGram.
I will charge you for the names you're calling them.
Well, these
I
are
was going to say
global
that.
names.
Thank you for
Okay.
name dropping. Okay.
So many names are out there that we used. Currently, as we speak with you, Nigerians are still sending money back home. What platforms are they using?
There are certain other platforms we can't mention here.
Okay, yes, and we've been using that. So if we have been using that, and the CBN is just coming out with this, I am just going to toe that line with Mr. Yemi or Olayemi Cardoso, because probably annually 2024, what we saw, was it the total remittance, or what we saw as the total annual IGR that we generated from monies coming abroad was about $4.23 billion. From following the conventional platforms that were used on monies, that means when they use other means like paying money through other bank accounts, if people who are in China or United States of America will use other methods where they pay directly money into bank accounts in Nigeria. Now this year as we speak, they have a target of monthly generation of $1 billion. I think that's the dream of Mr. Olayemi Cardoso. So if we are to do that, do remember that you must put it out there completely, what the information that those people sending back money, or that are going to be start sending back money through this platform, are going to gain or lose. So that when they come into the frame of things, that is not when they are being told, okay, if there's going to be a tax on that money coming in, I think we should state it out currently as we speak, so that as the government is bringing out this initiative, we also know the downside of it. And apart from that...
Are you calling charges downside?
No, of course, it's something that you have to bear. It's a brunt. Now, if that is the case, because they need to make comparisons with currently the platforms that they are using before before the emergence of the non-resident bank verification number. So if they are going to be paying little or very, very insignificant amount of money while they are transferring those money back to Nigeria currently, and the introduction of the NRBVN is going to attract more, then these people will shy away from the process. They will shy
But
away.
I feel like we're not getting it. I think the whole essence of this is to reduce, the reliance on those remittance channels, those
Second party.
That's exactly what I'm saying. If you are to take them out of the picture, how much do they charge for the monies that these Nigerians send back home?
Okay.
Are we going to charge lower than that?
Let's also look at
because you cannot completely
we cannot forget also that there's more to this. It also enables people in the diaspora to invest in stocks, bonds,
Definitely.
real estate.
Now,
like
let's look at it
so
from this other angle.
One of the major pros of this is the fact that the high fee that those remittance channels used to charge, would be taken out of the picture. That's one of the major pros.
Yeah, supports low cost, secure remittance channels.
No cost.
No cost.
Low cost is relative. That is
But
why.
if you're going to say it's relative to what obtains.
Low cost is relative.
Low cost on, put it on paper, let's see.
Okay, so low cost, exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Okay, exactly. But you know one thing.
No, but compared to what was obtainable, it's
compared
lower.
to, it has to be.
That's the point.
No, that is the point, but we've not started. Now, let me tell you something. There is something different.
We have started already. As we speak, one of the banks that I'm not going to call a name that has a funny, beautiful logo.
That's like five. That's like five of them.
They have started registration already as we speak. So that registration is ongoing. Now, the beautiful side of it, aside their ability to access the financial system here, is that they operate their account wherever they are.
By themselves.
Yes.
By themselves. With no second party.
It's okay. Okay.
So my sister don't need me, or your brother doesn't need someone else.
You don't need a third party.
You don't need, not even the second party. Third party is
Are you not the second party?
So right now, that is the beautiful, that's the beautiful side of it. So they can't get into any form of business by themselves and follow through, make any payment, make any saving on their own, and liquidity is going to flow into the country.
Are we saying that currently, as we speak, that Nigerians abroad who have bank local bank accounts. These are local conventional bank accounts in the country, but they are abroad. Don't send money through those Nigerian accounts to other Nigerians? Is that what we are saying?
They have an account.
No.
They do have an account.
With a BVN.
With a BVN. Now there's an
I don't know if you
NRBVN.
understand.
Okay.
They have an account with a BVN.
So what's
for them to have got to that BVN,
what's the difference?
they had to leave where they are to come here.
What's the difference between a non-residential BVN when those who were in the country who obtained their BVN and who are now currently abroad and using the normal BVN? How do we now categorize it or distinguish it?
There are Nigerians abroad that are not resident and have never been resident in Nigeria.
Yes.
There are
I'm well aware of
There are Nigerians abroad that are not resident in and they've never been resident in
who
Nigeria.
have been sending money back home.
Exactly. Now we are taking the middleman, we're taking it out. So now you can do your transactions directly. So before, there is a channel. There are various remittance channels that these people, because of the exchange rate and all of that, by the time I send money in pounds, I'm sending it to you because your account is a Naira account. Value and everything is going to be put in factored.
Nigerians have domiciliary accounts in different
I
currencies.
don't have domiciliary account.
That's you.
You don't have to have a BVN to open those.
You still need a BVN.
You still need a BVN to do anything.
You still need
In
a
fact,
BVN.
when you have this, you can even open the bank without. You can open a bank account here without even being present physically.
That's a major
but this. Oh, come on, please. This is we've spoken to all kinds of people who have accounts who have not ever been in the country, who have Nigerian accounts.
Okay.
Why do you know them?
Okay.
So I am not saying, please wait. I am not trying to promote. I am not trying to promote that
Why are you not
system.
calling them out?
I'm not
You
trying
just
to
said-
promote
said we
that
have
system.
plenty of
Are you looking at account
However,
without BVN or account with BVN?
I feel like Mr. Krumale has mixed everything up at this point.
No. I think you're wrong for saying
Account
that.
with or
now,
without BVN?
wait, just a moment. Nigerians abroad, there are a lot of Nigerians abroad without account on BVN. There are several times in this country when the Central Bank of Nigeria has said at times with that number that if you do not have a BVN attached to specific accounts, your services, the way you transfer money,
BVN
that has to
and
be
NIN,
frozen
don't forget.
or barred, not just NIN.
I said
please.
BVN and NIN.
No. So
you need to calm down.
you don't need to. When you said that, and sometimes there were names and publications, or the accounts were cited and publications that were given to that effect. What happened? Did you actually stifle those accounts from making those transactions? Where did the story lead? Did it end there? So we must bring objectivity to the fore when we have conversations like this.
Okay.
Now,
so
what
this
if
is what we'll do. This is what we'll do. For those particular, the last time CBN pushed out a circular on accounts without BVN was 2023 to take effect 2024.
Did it take effect?
That is where I'm going to now. So we will have to follow up that particular story and find out CBN what happened after that particular time.
Even the treasury single accounts that ministries, departments, and agencies
those
have
don't
been
need
charged.
those don't need
They
BVN.
don't need BVN, of course. I know organizations don't need BVN. However, those who own those organizations and those who are signatories
tier one,
to
tier
those,
two, or
those
tier
who
three
are
accounts.
signatories to those accounts, they have the bank, the organization's number, and those personal BVNs attached to those organizations' account details.
Okay.
So they are well monitored.
Let's round up on this. For everyone out there, just know this: if you're not living in Nigeria, you can't get your account, and you can't get it like now as we speak. So go out there, pick up your phones, and log on to the particular portal and get your
For
non-residential
NRBVN.
BVN. And once you get that, open any account you want with any bank, and feel free to bank. And please remember us. Send the money home. We'll go on a very short break and start those businesses. That's the most important one. We'll go on a very short break, and when we return, SBL will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to SBL, Souq Business Landscape. We'll head straight to our second story and has to do with Dangote. security, and some good agriculture. Now, for those wondering, the Dangote Group has announced multi-billion-naira agriculture partnership with Niger State Government to boost production and enhance Nigeria's food security. The senior advisor to the president of Dangote Group, Fatima Abdulrahman, made the disclosure at the opening of the 2025 Niger State Trade Fair in Minna. Now, she revealed that the company is investing in a 32 metric tons per hour rice mill in Wushishi, located on a 30-hectare site. The high-tech mill, which is part of the Niger Food Initiative, includes 32 silos for rice storage, 5.8 megawatts power plant, and support for local farmers through input supply and full produce offtake. I think that's the one I like a lot. The facility is expected to boost rice output, reduce post-harvest losses, and strengthen the agricultural value chain. Officials from both the federal and state government praised the project, highlighting its role in major job creation, transformation, in line with national development goals. Now, do we get to stand and clap? No. Now, let's talk about it. Moyo.
Sir.
We've talked and talked. We've asked and asked. We say, states, what are their comparative advantage?
Yeah.
Why have we been shooting ourselves the wrong way? Now we see somebody going forward to do things the right way. But it's coming from private organization, which should be in the first place.
Yeah.
What do you say about Niger State Government? Because they started this, I'll call it gospel, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Now they've gotten a major partner.
I mean, it shows that, you know, they had a vision and they had the will to follow it through. I mean, Dangote, you know, anytime I see Dangote on a project, you know, they're going to run this. You know, they're going to do this. And, I mean, this is huge. 32 metric tons, 32 silos, a 5.8 megawatt power plant as well to support the local farmers. It's also aligned with the Niger Food Initiative. This is the kind of stuff we need to see more of. So it's going to strengthen the agricultural value chain in Niger State, and it's going to reflect, you know, across the nation in the long haul. Honestly, I don't know why we are importing rice and stuff like that. You hear we are importing rice here. No, we have the capacity for this, and it's important that we encourage even the private sector to come in. You know, the government can't do everything. The government is generally overstretched. So we need the private sector to come in, and Dangote is leading the charge here. And this is good. There's going to be a lot of employment, jobs will be created, rural industrialization, which is always good because it gives people in the area jobs to do. Yeah, we'll probably see less of all these land dispute things. Everybody is always fighting for land. It's because they are jobless. It's because you are jobless, that's why you're going from place to place.
Muyo, did you just go there?
I'm going to keep it a buck.
I think it's starting off
Even
business.
the Bible says in the idle hand is the devil's workshop. That's the fighting up on that is the devil's work. It's the devil's work, you know.
Okay.
So a lot of that is going to change. So that's good. That's a good one.
Okay. Why we try shutting that devil's workshop? Priye,
Yeah.
Niger State has 10% of the total land mass in Nigeria. That should hit some people. That's like 76.363 kilometers square. One state, Niger State. And 85% of this land is arable.
Okay.
And we've not taken advantage of this all this while. Now, it's so blessed that they have the two major rivers in this country crosses that same state, with a confluence not far away from the state. And they have a whole lot of fadama and rice farmers from one end to the other end. They have two major research institutes, majorly for cereal. The biggest research institute in West Africa is in Bida, Badegi. Why have we not woken up from this slumber till now?
Well, there is a Chinese proverb that said the best time to plant a tree is like 100 years back.
Say it in Chinese.
And then the second best time for us to plant a tree is now, currently now as we speak. So I think this collaboration coming from both the public and private sector is something that is laudable. Because when I looked at the project, I looked at 30 hectares of land, 32 silos, 2,500 metric tons of paddy rice, 5.8 megawatts of electricity that's going to be generated. It's not only going to be used by the 30 hectares of land and all other facilities that will come around with that. The vicinity, the people living in that area, we're also going to, have some form of benefit from that. That signifies the fact that they are not going to be depending on the national grid for power supply. They are going to be diversifying, and that is quite an addition. Other businesses within that terrain are also going to depend on that 5.8 megawatts. So its spiral effect is, put Niger State at the side of the advantage. And if we talk about the ease of doing business, it's going to actually mitigate some of the difficult challenges that Niger State has been experiencing before now. It is going to reduce reliance on the national grid, and it has a significant employment opportunities. Now, I can't begin to talk about the number of people, employment that is going to generate. Yes, why didn't we have this like 20, 30 years ago, and why now? Do know that Niger State is in the northern part of the country, and they are not completely removed from the challenges that the country currently faces, most especially in the northern part of the country. Do remember that it's also Niger State where you had a recorded incident of bandits and terrorists attacked a contingent of the Nigerian army, and we secured, there was this infliction that made the nation roar at that particular point in time. Now, Dangote has collaborated with Mr. Bago, who is the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Executive Governor of Niger State. The thing that the federal government can do with regards to this is to make the environment governable, is to make the environment conducive for this business to thrive, is to make the environment appeal to investors that might be coming in as a result of this quite large infrastructure that is being put in place between the private and the public sector. 32 silos. These are going to be storing those paddy rice. My concern at the moment, apart from security or insecurity activities, is that are we going to be getting the benefit of this when the time finally comes and we are producing this? Is it going to be as cheap or cheaper than the foreign rice, so that however we will have more like import substitution, and we will not only have import substitution, we are going to have instances whereby our country is not being placed as a dumping ground for foreign rices, for foreign products to come in. Okay. I think that's where I want to look at it from.
Where you are looking at it. Okay,
I want to have...
Let me ask you a question so that you can come in with what you want to have, because we are really interested in this that you really want to have. Now, look at small farmers. There are a lot of small farmers that farm rice in Niger State, and rice is just 3 months, meaning that we can farm it 4 times in a year. In a season, we can knock it out 4 times in a season. Now, with this particular meal coming up, Dangote can't farm enough for this meal, which means he has to depend on taking off from farmers, which they have already stated. Is this the best time to start farming rice? As in, people around. That is a staple for them in the first place.
For them to take
should they get back into that particular thing? There's a whole lot of farmers around that area.
Well, I really don't know what angle to look at your question from. Everybody's probably going to rush in and try to, take advantage of this particular partnership or take advantage of this particular initiative, especially those that are under. But Mr. Perry raised something very, very cogent, which of course is security. Mm-hmm. There's a serious... These are farmers that they pay taxes, illegal taxes, by the way, to bandits. Yes.
That's those within those areas where
I don't want to know. The point is, it is something that is happening in Niger State. That is something that is happening in Niger State. Just last year, we saw a video of farmers, being gunned down in their farms, on their farms. All right? So it's not a factor of, is this the time to grow rice? Are they even allowed to grow the rice? Can they grow the rice? Is it safe to grow the rice? At this time now. But,
Niger State is not just big, it's huge.
Oh, no.
So, now, let's get there. So, if we generalize, so are they allowed? What about the places where there are no issues? So, let the government face where there are issues and bring
the point
security.
No. Even places, that's not the way to look at it. It is unfair for you to say, oh, we're sorry you guys are going through problem. But, okay, so you guys are not going through problem. Please help us out with this rice. What is that?
We face where it's burning, protect others.
We are facing where
but not that can they grow the rice.
If Dangote is going to achieve this, if Niger State is going to achieve this, there's a need for the smaller guys to also come on board. And if
can you define smaller guys?
The farmers.
Okay.
Also, what happens?
This is because this is a factor of the public-private partnership. The state government is coming on board. Dangote is coming on board, which is amazing. But then at the end of the day, the guys down there, their input is very, very, very important. And if they are not safe on their farms, there's something that also needs to be looked into. Now, if you're saying that, okay, there are areas that they do not have security issues, that there are areas that do not have security issues. Now, do you know what that means? If we're looking at it from that angle, since that's where you want to take me to, I will take you there. If we're looking at it from that angle, it means that you're now bringing attention to that place.
To where?
To where is
supposedly safe. No, hold on.
Okay.
You are bringing attention to where is supposedly safe, and then attention is now there. Now, what is the assurance that what is happening in that part where it's not safe will not be replicated in where it's safe? Because some years ago, a lot of people said Southern Kaduna and Northern Kaduna, oh, there are some things that are not obtainable in Southern Kaduna, there are some things that are not obtainable in Northern Kaduna. But at the end of the day now, unfortunately, everybody in Kaduna is going through a problem.
Okay. While we look for how to solve the problem in Kaduna, let's look at Niger State.
Still on this particular issue now.
Okay.
If we're now looking at public-private partnership, I feel like we're over-relying on private sector-led initiatives in this country. That's just the truth of it. That's big.
Okay. Private sector is the engine of every country.
I rest my case.
But that is what it is.
That is your argument. I rest my case.
Look at it from this way. The government cannot, I said like up to 4 or 5 times, government cannot employ its citizens. It's a private sector. Me, you, small businesses.
We know what privatization has done for us in this country.
It's government's
responsibility. We know what
responsibility
privatization has done for us in this country. We know what privatization has done for us in this country. We also know...
Privatization of what?
Privatization of different sectors. We're not going to go into that because we have a lot to talk about.
That's a different ballgame.
We know what? It is not a different ballgame. It is still the same system. It is still the same structure.
Okay, now hold on.
Nothing is changing.
Can we see...
It is just location.
If Dangote is going to Niger State, he saw something to go to Niger State.
Dangote is a businessman.
Good.
If he's coming on board with this initiative, at the end of the day, he's also going to look at the numbers. He's also going to look at any private sector coming in, or any private individual or organization coming in, working with, the public sector, working with the government. At the end of the day, for the private sector, they still have their eyes on the ball, which is the figures.
Definitely.
At the end of,
he's not Father Christmas.
So, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now, we're now also not looking at the fact that with Dangote coming on board, while this is laudable, yes, it is, because, it's unfortunate, according to Mr. Chooks, that the private sector is the driving force of the nation. But unfortunately, in this case, it's really not going to be the issue. Or in the case of Nigerians, peculiar situation now in Nigeria, it has not always been the issue when we have PPP.
Okay, so
hold on.
Are we also looking at the fact that there may be cost inflation?
Now, if we keep looking at the mountain, we won't climb.
I am not looking at the mountain. I am being objective. Let's look at the issues. Let them resolve it.
Hold on.
And then we can work.
Let's look at Dangote as a businessman.
Okay.
There is a refinery somewhere in Lekki. That's not where the refinery was meant to be initially. Hope you know. This is the third place where this is where it came, and this is where it is right now. Are there problems in Ibeju-Lekki? Definitely there are problems in Ibeju-Lekki. Which means he saw that, okay, good, I can navigate through these problems. Okay, now let's drop it here. It's the same thing. He is a businessman. Are there issues in Niger State? Yes. Are there security issues in Niger State? Yes. But there's something that development does. The more development comes, it's easier to fight insecurity.
I think
you're not in a... No, hold on.
Like if putting his head in the sand.
No, hold on. If we say because of insecurity, we won't step out.
We're not saying we won't step out. We will step out. We should step out.
What we should be advocating right now is
attention should be paid on the fact that we have security issues.
That's exactly what this is. That's what it is.
And unfortunately, the state's governors, one way or the other, because of how our system has been structured, unfortunately, the state governors are handicapped to a certain extent.
Okay, so now let's not go to that politics. Let's look at the business.
We're talking about what are you doing? We're talking about the fact that Niger State has needs to do something about security. You just said keeping people safe. That's what you said.
That is the state governor's first responsibility. That is president's
really the
other
security
responsibility,
officer
and we should hold them accountable to that.
Oh, no.
Okay. Okay. I want to, when it is, I agree, and I think that is how it is currently, because no government of any country has the wherewithal to make employment available for the massive population that it has in its country. One of its responsibilities is to ensure that, however, because it cannot do that directly, it is saddled with the responsibility to create an enabling environment, an ecosystem that is business friendly, that will facilitate commerce and transportation. And I think the Niger State government, in collaboration with the federal government and with the big wig coming into collaboration with the Niger State government, will be able to facilitate that process whereby the government at the center, the Tinubu administration, should make sure that the provision of security is enhanced and is consolidated so that we do not have a replica of what has been happening before. Now, my point is this. Dangote has collaborated with the Niger State government to do this. Can we have other billionaires in the country who should take up other charges or should take up other assignments in states like Kogi State that we know that they are one of the states in the country that have large deposits of mineral resources? Can we have other billionaires who could go to Osun State and take advantage of the cocoa and of the gold deposits that we have there? Can we have other billionaires who can go to other parts of the country and to team up with those governors and to completely bring in, to cause the federal government to buy into this process, to make the environment and the atmosphere secured for these businesses to thrive? I think that is what we should be looking at. When we're talking about capitalism, of course, you as a private investor, you will come and invest. However, the government itself is also saddled with the responsibility that the indigents of the citizens of the country, they are not exploited. If you have factories established in parts of Nigeria, we also have to look at the effect that if any of these citizens, any of these Nigerians got their hands or their legs cut off because they were operating any machine in these factories, there should be an amount of money, not just only provided by the National Social Trust Fund, NSITF, or something like that. I am trying to get the right name for it, including the factories. What? Okay, including the factories themselves. They should be liable and be responsible, and the government should have in place a framework, a policy, legislative framework to hold the organizations and the management to account, to be able to extend this hand to provide a platform where these peoples that have these incidents, these victims of incidents, are cared for. We should look at that.
Can we bring it back? Can we bring it back to agriculture?
Yes,
investment,
of course. Agricultural investment and development.
Let's talk about the inflation.
Food inflation.
No, not food.
What?
Cost inflation, not food inflation.
No, okay, just a moment.
Cost inflation for Dangote?
Food inflation.
Now,
Chooks, you asked a question. And
is his investment. That is his worry, not ours.
No, not him.
Inflation brought about by the costs.
Brought about by the cost of his inputs now. That's another issue.
The inflation brought about by the participation of the private sector in bringing about development.
Yes, you need to put it into consideration.
This is a collaboration between the state government and the private entity. Now, even when the federal government engages in issues like this, we do remember very well the Ikorodu long stretch road. We do remember other public roads in Lagos Island, and how the government and the state government, including private, a consortium of investors were brought into place to make sure that this infrastructure was put in place by a consortium of banks and other investors. And that is why we have some of these roads tolled. Why do we then have it tolled? Because the private investors... As an investor, fine. From the onset, sorry, let me just land. From the onset, does the government have that ability, that capacity financially and otherwise, with so many projects that it is saddled with across the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory, to carry out and execute this project? Of course not, because the government is handicapped to a certain level. And without the participation of private,
deviating and talking politics.
Let me say this.
That is there is favorable to business.
There is such a thing as over-reliance on private partnership-led projects.
Are we there now?
What do you say?
Are we there now? From what you just said, are we there now?
Over-reliance?
Yes.
He said that.
Yes, we are.
He said, Mr. Preye said that the government is handicapped. That's why we can't saddle them, because they have a lot of projects that they're working on.
This particular project,
the point
is
I'm
it
making
10% of the refinery?
Input cost inflation is a risk that we might be looking at with this partnership. That is the truth of it. Because Dangote is coming on board, which is amazing. Can
the Niger State Government take this by itself? Can it do this by itself? Can the Niger State Government, can it do this by itself?
Something doesn't mean you ignore it totally. It is a risk.
It is not ignored.
It is something that we should highlight for them to also pay attention to.
Highlight for who exactly?
This partnership, the partners, those involved. It is something that is a potential risk. You don't overlook it.
At this point in time,
production costs will go up, because by the time they bring in all of the whatever it is that they need to bring in, let's us not forget.
Okay, hold on. Are we thinking for Dangote or thinking for Niger State Government?
We are thinking for both.
Okay, good. They have hold on. They have their own consultants that have sat down. Before this
we should overlook potential risk. What is the essence of analyzing an issue? There are cons and there are pros.
Okay.
We have looked at the pros. There are amazing pros, but there are cons. Look at the cons as well. And one of the cons is that there is a risk, a potential risk of input cost inflation. I'm not saying that it is something that will happen. It is possible that they have done their environmental assessment. It is very, very possible.
It is not possible. They have definitely done that.
Bro, last year,
how much?
Minister of Works was
we are not talking about government. We are talking about a private entity here.
No, but you cannot review. It's a partnership. This is not like Dangote went there to buy land and started developing.
He didn't buy land there and started.
It is a partnership.
He's working in partnership with the state government.
We need to go back.
To where?
Look at the story and get to see what is the input of the state in the first place. What is the state bringing on board in the first place? To what extent is Dangote invested in the first place? I don't know if you understand. Partnership could be land.
This is clearly. It means that both parties are bringing something.
Partnership could be whatever.
It means both parties are bringing something to the table.
Is not small.
Okay.
Whatever Dangote is bringing is not small.
Good. So can we do them this favor?
They are working together
on their behalf.
Okay.
What is the essence of this conversation, Mr. Chooks?
We have gone beyond the conversation. Now we are trying to look for issues that will come out from
We're analyzing this initiative. We're analyzing this partnership.
Now we must also have to get it clear that Dangote, as we speak, since he is involved in Niger State, let me bring him to the center. Dangote, as we speak, had said if he had known the threat or the disaster, how difficult and how challenging it is to come into play in the oil and gas space, he wouldn't have built his refinery. He mentioned that statement. Now, as we speak, not only is his refinery what is making Nigeria to be one of the indicators of not only number 6 and number 5 producers of oil, at the moment now, it's because it is at the moment now, the government sponsored those who are buying straight from the government. They are selling higher. And you can see his policies that he makes. It's reducing price most of the time. I think it's creating an environment for competition whereby the government itself cannot be the monopoly in the system. And if he's reducing his price at the moment, and those who are buying these resources or this crude from the government or from contractors who are buying from the government are selling higher than he is selling, I think the thing about the cost inflation that she's talking about in this specific case, has been defeated already because his actions are actually working against it.
Why,
And I think
hold on. Thank you very much. Now we have analyzed, reanalyzed, and still talking about it. But hey, wherever you are, join this conversation. Go to Souq News TV on all platforms and join the conversation. Send us what you think. Send us what you believe and don't believe, and the issues you see rising or not rising from it. Now, also remember there are several states, 36. Look at the other states. What are those particular things you think people can't really get into? And be it the locals, be it the state, or be it any businessman can look into and say, hey, I see money here. It's called business. So whether you're going to lose in the end or gain in the end, it's called business. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. SBL will go on a short break. Hello and welcome back to your show. This is SBL and we are live. We had a good, beautiful argument before we went on break, and even while we were on break, we had to just kick back, hit our backs and relax a bit. Now we go to our third story for today. The federal government has approved maintenance dredging of 1.5 billion Lekki deep sea port channel from 16.5 meters to 17 meters, with a long-term target of 19 meters. Managing Director of Nigeria Port Authority, Abubakar Dansoho, confirmed this through General Manager. Communications and Strategy, Mr. Okechukwu Onyemakera. Following a weekend inspection, the project, executed by partnership with China Harbour Engineering Company, aims to boost trade facilitation and improve vessel turnaround time. Dansoho noted that Lekki Port capacity to berth super post-Panama's vessels significantly enhanced Nigeria's export competitiveness under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I still have Priye. Here I have Moyo and I have Bola. Now let's get into this. Now we are having a Lekki seaport that came on board just a few years ago, and dredging is already happening. 1.5 billion. That's a lot of good money.
$1 billion.
Yes, that's a whole lot of good money. Where do we really start? Have we had operations, like 50% operations in Lekki seaport?
So far?
So far, yes.
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Have we?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
I'm not certain.
Okay. 1.5 billion. Now, let's also look at, because each time we get to this particular, Dangote is also, it's not far.
It's not too far off.
It's not far away from this discussion.
Yeah.
The refinery is there, and both takeoff and output point are also very close by. If we are looking at this monies being spent now, it calls attention to some other project that has been there and nothing is happening. Port across Nigeria, we have Calabar, we have Warri, we have, and these are deep sea ports.
Yeah.
Should we be investing this much for a port that has not fully come on stream?
Well, what is required to make it fully come on stream? I think the government is just playing that role to do the needful to make it fully come on stream.
By dredging some more?
Why the dredging? So that the ship, I beg your pardon, so that that seaport could have the capacity to be able to accept and receive some very super large ships that can berth. Because some ships may not be able to berth when that maybe when the seaport is not properly dredged. And if that's the case, to make that port, now do remember, because when you were reading the story, you talked about facilitation through the African Continental Free Trade Area. Okay. So we need to have the infrastructure.
Hold on. I need to get Bola's thought on this. If we are looking at dredging for 1.5 billion, Remember, if this ship starts coming in, we don't have a rail line to take off these containers off the seaport. It's still going to be the road from Lekki Road or are taken out through Ijebu. What should we put in front? The dredging or the rail?
Well, it's perfect, honestly. It's perfect. My own major concern from this is the fact that we're executing it with a Chinese engineering company. Yeah. I think we're overlooking that. It's not just, we're not doing it alone. It's an execution with a Chinese engineering company. Do we not have local capacity to do that?
To dredge?
Yeah, we don't have.
For 1.5 billion.
We're spending that amount of money.
I'm just calling the amount that we dredge
with you,
for local capacity.
We're together. We're together. We're spending that amount of money because we're executing it with a foreign engineering company.
Okay, well, initially, are they the ones that built the place? That's another kettle of fish.
No, that's not even the point.
Okay.
So the point here, because this is an issue, if you're looking at it from, that angle, that amount of money, it's a lot, but it's an execution with the Chinese harbor company. Now, if we're now looking at if we have the infrastructural capacity to, sustain this and all of that, road network, rail line, and all of that, if all of this have been put into consideration, I have news for you, Mr. Chooks, is the fact that this is a country that went into Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway without proper planning and assessment done. That's all I'll say.
Okay, that is all you say now.
Yeah.
Now you've given us half solution for what
it's not even a solution. I'm just highlighting an issue.
That must be taken into
that must be, okay.
Consideration.
Now, Priye, she just mentioned the Lagos-Calabar Highway, and that is like the first part of that highway. Our own end from here. For those wondering, we are reaching you live from Lagos. Now, if we say Lagos-Calabar Highway, that means the part from Lagos crossing the Lekki Deep Sea Port should be complete.
Before the takeoff of the Lagos-Calabar Highway? Is that what you're
because that is already...
Connection to other ports. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm looking at ability to take containers off that port.
It's still
and with the Lagos-Calabar Highway, in quote, there's also supposed to be a rail on that Lagos-Calabar Highway.
Yes.
So good. Can we have that done? Is it possible? I'm just looking at having that infrastructure on ground while this dredging is coming up, because if we're expecting the mother ships, as you call them, where are they going to carry the containers up from?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to quickly reference the question you asked rhetorically about who built it in the first place. Now, contracts, there are conditions that precedes a contract, and sometimes the conditions that precedes these contracts can last for as long as 10 years, as long as 15, 20 years. Whilst I'm not really into what the collaboration of those who built the Lekki Deep Sea Port and the other partner that did it. Let me just quickly read this. The Lekki Deep Sea Port in Nigeria was built through a joint venture between Lekki Port Investment Holdings, Inc., including China Harbour Engineering Company Limited and Tolaram, the Lagos State Government, and the Nigerian Ports Authority. How many partners do we have here? We're talking about almost 4.
Yeah, but we're talking about
China,
the
just
people
a moment.
that did the construction.
Yes. So if they are going through this route again to bring in the Chinese company that was actually part of the process from the onset, I think probably the government is just maintaining a stand position to be obligated to some of the things that had to do with the contract in that. However, I am going to equally scowl just a little bit because of the renewed hope first Nigerian policy that was churned out recently. One problem I have is that the government just give out executive orders. It just gives out executive orders without thinking through legislative framework and legislative processes. And any executive order or any project as critical as the renewed first Nigerian project or any other one without legislative backing and framework is just going to lack sustainability, and is going to just fizzle out, if not fail, in the future. So why is the Nigerian legislature, why are they not brought into focus concerning that? Now, let me come back to this conversation. I believe the Chinese company is there to fulfill the role it has been playing from this onset. However, we also have to look at the Lagos-Calabar rail, or the Lagos-Calabar superhighway that we are talking about. We shouldn't put, is it the cart before a horse, or the horse before the cart, the way that statement goes. We have to look at it very well. What do we stand to gain? And if we are objective, we are going to find out from the way the project, the tone of the project, and the pace and the speed, and how we are going around the project. If we are not objective, if we are, duplicitous, if we are deceptive, we're also going to see it in the body language of the government on the way they want to execute it. And I just think the difference is clear. Because
okay, can you answer me this question? That particular project, the Lagos-Calabar Highway, is it going to cover the side of the seaport, the Lekki seaport, as fast as this dredging is happening?
If it's going
to take now,
okay, yes,
to take that construction, the Lagos-Calabar Highway that has started already on this side of it, is it going to take the side from the seaport, taking containers out? Because once it's done, they can start using it.
Yes.
Is it going to be completed down to that seaport, taking materials, containers, vehicles out of the port?
Let me ask a rhetorical question. Do we have containers? Do we have containers
coming from
of vehicles coming from the seaport, from Apapa seaport?
Just
a moment. Yes, I know you're talking about like
we have they are directly in front of us.
They're directly in front of us, and we have vessels. We have trailers going there to carry containers to leave that.
Definitely.
Why wouldn't it? Why won't that happen?
Now, let me bring this to Moyo. Moyo, have you considered the fact that if we continue in this same trajectory, we're not just shooting ourselves in the foot, we are hanging ourselves. Because if we let trucks ferry containers through that Lekki axis, crossing the commercial and residential buildings through Lagos to go out or going the other way, it's a disaster in the making. Have we considered that?
I have, but the people in charge of the contract, they will speak for themselves. I think we've been told not to speak on behalf of people.
Okay. Do you live around that area?
I do not.
Okay, good. Bola, you don't live around that area.
I do not. But there's
this. No, she's a big girl. She doesn't live in those areas.
I will say this though. I don't think our roads, especially those Lekki roads, I don't know if they could take the toll of having those.
But right now, we had this report from this same our organization, where we saw every early in the morning and later parts of the night, trucks with containers moving through that axis. And we've started seeing accidents already.
Yes.
Several.
Yeah.
Which should not be. Imagine how big that port is going to be in the near future.
He mentioned something about legislation. It reminds me of when, in Nigeria, by every third market day, trailer was falling off from down. Falling from the bridge down, or there was always like a trailer accident.
How did you know it was a third market?
I'm just joking, but you get my point.
I'm
just like, that's where legislation comes in, right? Everybody needs to play their part in this kind of thing. So the people who are handling this contract, they will handle it. But the legislature should also sit down and say, how do we protect everybody else? This is something great. This is something that the country needs. I mean, that the state needs as well. It's going to open up the whole area. It's going to make it a gateway, so to speak. But then we have to protect the people. So the people in the House of Assembly, they need to work, and they need to do something to ensure that people stay protected. Like what they did in Nigeria, where they put something on that bridge. So those trailers, those trailers. I remember when Desmond Elliott went there and made a whole he made a whole thing out of it. Okay. But this is what I'm saying. We all have to play our own part. Everybody in government has to play their part.
Bola, I'm coming to you. Is this where citizen diplomacy come in? Or we just have to tell those in National Assembly or State Assembly, do something?
That is the citizen diplomacy.
That's all we can do, really. Yeah. I mean, that is all we can do as people. We can only talk, really. That's all we can do. But, so help all the partners involved in this particular project. So help all the partners, all the 4 partners that Mr. Krumale just listed out. But then at the end of the day, you know, maintenance, as we are discussing now, is a big problem. We have a bad maintenance culture in Nigeria. So maintenance is something that needs to be looked at. We just talked about the fact that...
Do we have a bad maintenance culture?
We have
a
bad
managers?
We have a bad maintenance culture.
That's mental gymnastics.
Exactly. What you just did now. It's semantics. But we'll overlook it and move on.
Don't overlook it. We have a hospital not far from us. I'm trying to give you an example. We have a hospital not far from us. Then in front of that hospital, we have another hospital in front of it. Then on the other side, we have a different hospital in front of it. Now, if you look at these 3 places, one is as old as times 10 of these other ones, yet is well maintained. Whereas these other ones are dilapidated. So is it a bad maintenance culture? Is it not the managers?
Okay, so first that one that you are talking about. No, please hold on. Not even that.
What are we going to
do? If we even do ratio, 2 over 3 is not being maintained. But that's not even the point. That one that you think is being maintained is not being maintained. They just built a new structure in it. That's why it looks maintained from the outside. It's a new building. Go into the hospital, then you will see what I mean by maintenance culture.
I'm talking about the private ones, not the other one.
State as... Well,
exactly.
So now no. A private owner, whoever is into business, that's your business.
So it's a manager's issue.
No.
Okay.
In Nigeria, generally speaking, because the truth of the matter is, Chooks, even you yourself, if you open up a business now and then you bring people in, it's the same thing. People will travel abroad, they will meet a structure, they will meet a system that is working, and the Nigerian in them will just still go left.
Okay.
But that's not even the point. The point is...
Let's this Nigeria go right.
Yes, so help us all. Cost sustainability and maintenance culture is something that just needs to be looked into.
Okay, before we move to the next topic, what is happening with Warri, Port Harcourt, Sapele? We're forgetting that.
Okay, first,
what should we be looking at from this port?
That's the downside of my take in that, because not because I'm from the southern part of the country, but because I think when it comes to, when I looked up the Warri port, I was told that its focus was on petroleum products, and that it is fully operational, but that the capacity of the way it functions and its operations cannot be compared to what we have here at the southwestern part of the country. But I don't want to buy it as being fully operational, because if it is fully operational, we will be feeling the impact of the Warri ports in the economy of Nigeria. Talking about, I want to take you back to where you mentioned the thing about trailers and that movement. I was looking at the Apapa ports, and because I'm not an engineer, so I'm beginning to think, how are we going to, channel or bring in a railroad to the Apapa seaports? And probably
there is one there.
We have a railroad.
Yes, there has always been one there.
Great, but for that of the Lekki Deep Seaport, we know that it is something that is we have the landmass, we have the terrain to suit that process. The government should do it. However, if we are going to continue to use the trucks for the interim, then the government should state at what time do trucks have to come, pick up consignment and leave. Can it be from 7, 8 or 9 p.m.? Then they can move from 9 p.m. till about 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning, and they stop.
This was a rule during Fashola's administration, and it wasn't adhered to.
They flouted it.
Well, we should be. Look at implementation.
So now, are we now looking at maybe the traffic managers, the road safety corps? Are those the people now we're going to be looking at now? Because there have been situations where at a certain time, do not move. At a certain time, do not move. But they still did. So,
not enough people were getting locked up.
Okay, now for those that are wondering, Nigeria is moving forward. Ahead is the game, and we will develop. Lekki Port will get to between 60–80% patronage usage, docking, harbor. All of it is going to work in less than 2–3 years. This infrastructure needs to be put in place. at least let's save lives. Let businesses on the outside of Lagos, let them also grow. We'll go to our last story for today. So, hey, don't run away. Nigeria is set to commission two lithium plants, and that will be happening somewhere close to Abuja. That's one of them, and the other somewhere in the Middle Belt also. That's by the end of 2025. According to the country's Minister of Solid Mineral and Development, Dele Alake, the move signals a shift from exporting raw material to building domestic capacity for value addition, job creation, and industrial growth. The first facility is $600 million plant near the Kaduna-Niger border. Will be commissioned this quarter. Somebody say amen. A second, worth $200 million is nearing completion on the outskirts of Abuja. That's somewhere in Nasarawa. Both projects are largely funded by Chinese companies. Okay.
China is, I feel like at this point, maybe
is a beautiful inroad.
I feel like at this point we should just build a house and just say this is China in Nigeria.
Well,
yeah,
we
borrowed from them.
We borrowed from them. Want to build roads with China. Want to do trade with
major projects.
They're overly reliant on foreign technical
support at this point now. But
it's ridiculous.
So help us all on that particular one. That's all I have to say.
So help us all at this point.
So help us all.
Okay. Now let's talk about this now. We sat on this table not long ago.
Apologies. They're both in Nasarawa State, by the way.
We sat
plants are in Nasarawa
State. One is Kaduna
between
Niger border, and the other near Abuja. I'm not sure where.
The one near Abuja is Nasarawa.
Okay, fair.
So we sat on this table not just some days back, not up to a week. Now we're talking about exporting. Yes, you were there. Yes, this smile sells you. We're talking about being able to add value to the primary product living here. Yeah. You also remember we talked about miners. We had to put the word local miners, artisanal miners, and what they were going through in the hands of, in quotes, the lords up there. Yeah. Now we are seeing Chinese companies saying, okay, we will establish battery plants here in Nigeria. Okay, for us, for now, is a plus. You ask me why, because even if they take the material and leave, they take it and go to their place, no value added. Now they're adding value here. Even if it's a Chinese plant, even if it's a Chinese company, even if it's Chinese money, what is happening here in Nigeria. That was also the resolve of African states some few years back. You can't take our lithium without having a plant here. Now we are seeing this. What should we insist that the government, how should they follow through with the plants, with those going to work there, and with the end product coming from the mines?
For me, I think we should give kudos to China. Because why I'm saying that is that we have leaders whom we have entrusted the management and administration of our economy and our country to. We should hold them responsible. Now, if China is being tactical in their geopolitics, if they are tactical in making sure that they go to other countries of the world to be able to get raw materials to feed back their factories in their country, and they are doing that strategically, and they are getting results, I think we should emulate them. Back to something that you said that is very, very critical. If they are going to build, even the electric vehicles, they want to build an electric vehicle plant here in Nigeria, but that will be somewhere in the northern part of the country. All these lithium plants are all domiciled in the northern part of the country when they are built, and some of them are already near 80% completion, according to the minister. If we're having that, I think it's a plus for us, but I know it will not come without a cost. And I don't want to start imagining the cost, because the costs are not stated there. What would be the gain of China? I am interested in knowing that.
It's business.
It's business. Well, I think it's just undermining the magnitude of the loss that we might be getting as a result of that.
When you say loss as how? They are...
It may not, no, Mr. Krumale, it may not even be a loss.
Okay.
Revenue repatriation needs to be looked into. If at the end of the day, China is heavily involved in this, the repatriation of the revenue, where does it go to? It's going back to China. So yes, they are working here. We have given them the opportunity to do
Capital
that.
flight.
That's
And then-
capital flight.
Okay, now look at it from this other angle. Years back, you can quote me. I can't run. Years back,
You don't have anywhere to run to. And with your passport.
China was able to get loads of technology off the US, thanks to the students that they kept sending there and workers they kept sending there. And US companies that were going to China. Now, the technology transfer, whether it was peaceful or not peaceful, don't you see this in that light? If we decide to work,
This is different.
yeah, but the company is here. If we decide, okay, let's see, how can we?
The context,
You
where
can
where I
move.
must say
You
first
can
is
move.
that
Steal
the context
It's
is
totally
But
different. You
secondly,
can move human beings.
if
Are
you're
we going to
gonna-
move Nigeria?
No,
But
but
what
since the companies are
if
here,
you're
that's what
gonna
I'm
do
saying.
that,
We can steal the
if you're
technology.
going to do that,
Yes.
it has,
Yes.
to, be very, it
That's a
has to be
plus,
very
actually.
deliberate.
You said
it has to be very
definitely. When they were stealing, was it not deliberate?
Who's stealing?
You keep saying still, I'm a bit confused now.
Okay,
Let's know what we're talking about.
when the technology transfer was happening from the West to Asia,
No, but
was it not
It's
deliberate?
different and it's much easier in the sense that they went there to travel, they came back home.
You
and
can
they,
move
what
it.
they learned and
Okay.
they brought it back.
Hold on.
But
Are you
here,
moving Nigerian
it's
soil?
work.
Hold on.
And
hold on.
Again,
hold on.
what if it
Now
also
you're-
what if it also happens that they set up all these plants and the people in the management parts and stuff are the Chinese?
No, we have
and not
content,
Nigerians?
national content
Local
regulation,
content,
local
I-
content
we keep
regulation.
saying
Where
that,
you have,
but really I
where we
see
have
that.
Nigerians
I'm
also
saying,
occupy some. There's a quota of Nigerians that should occupy some of those positions.
I like that you said I should. That
Yeah.
should, but
The-
do they? Is the
No,
question.
the quota is talking about is administrative staff. Now,
No,
See,
managerial
see,
position.
no, so hold on. Years ago, the shell issue in the Niger Delta
Okay.
went global. Was
not
the
just
biggest-
Shell.
Not just Shell. A lot of big, but Shell was the
Yeah,
was the postal company for it. We had that story. Till tomorrow, they still use it to teach, students. Still use it in lecture rooms, as something you can learn from. All right. So if that has happened before, that's an antecedent already. So are we sure that we're not going to have a replication of that? Yes, fine. It's Chinese company. They're setting it up. Yes, fine. It could lead to job creation. Yes, fine. It could lead to technological transfer. Yes, fine. It could lead to some exports, revenue for the government as well.
I'm smiling
But
inside.
but
no.
because
Oh, no.
however,
Okay.
because of what has happened with oil and gas in the Niger Delta,
So we are just like that second bride right now.
I hope not the same thing won't happen with lithium now with these plants.
Okay.
Inclusive from me, I would just like to say I think it's very important that we ask for more information when
Yes.
we keep talking about these partnerships.
Yes.
In
Yes.
Within the last,
We should be asking for more
We the
information.
people,
Okay.
we the people should have more access
The
to
people
information
as
about
well.
all
I
this.
like when you say we the people.
We the people, yes, we should have more access to the information about all this. It's not enough to just come and say, oh, we're signing a $600 million deal.
Because
We're
that's
gonna
what happened
create
in
jobs,
Ogun
it's gonna
State.
do
And
this.
now Ogun State has to now, pay some certain money back to the
That they
Chinese.
did not know that they had
That
to
we
pay.
didn't know that.
No, hold on. When you say we, like, did you contribute part of it?
I'm from Ogun State.
Oh no!
So help us, God.
Now I understand.
So help us, Lord. And now we have to pay for something that we didn't even know when they were signing it.
Do you
A
understand?
different administration now has to pay
Because
for
it's even hard to
something that
assess all
another
of this.
administration, got itself into. So I think it's valid. We need to ask more questions. And
Okay.
also, what's in it for the communities that they're going to be exploring those,
Great.
the lithium from the
Where
community.
they are also citing the
Yes, where they are saying, what's
Yes.
in it
Okay.
for them?
There-
Let not be
there's
like
this-
oil spill now that they can't drink
Exactly,
healthy
and
water
comes
in
the
some parts of
compound
Niger
waste
Delta.
there.
Exactly.
There's this policy in the UAE. So for most companies that are coming in, because they just open out their doors and say, come. So as long as you're coming in, you have to sign. Citizens and those there will work hand in hand with whoever is coming in.
They used to sign, but
That's-
what's
no,
the
I'm talking about
document?
there. I'm not talking about here.
And even here, we used to sign.
So now,
we used to sign.
that's where
Because
enforcement,
when
that's
the
where
Chinese
enforcement
Ogun State
comes
issue
in.
came in, documents came out. We saw a lot of documents.
Somebody signed
Yes.
on personal terms. Okay.
How do you mean the personal terms? The government official is signing that document. It's
So
doing
that's-
it on behalf of the
No.
government.
Yes, but the interest was serving his own
He was
personal
serving
interest.
his
That's what
personal
it was serving his own
interest.
personal
It
interest.
wasn't for the state at the end of the day.
That's two cases. He will have to be. He will be held for corruption.
So then now they
However,
cannot.
his signature
He
for
signed on
representing the
behalf
country
of
we're
Ogun
going to.
State government. That's the problem because
Not
now,
the Nigerian
yes.
government.
Okay, I want to say thank you very much for being there and being
you.
part of this particular production. For everyone out there, remember, there is no place like home. Nigeria is the best. Now, for every other person being part of all this partnership, please give us more information. Let the people know. That is part one. Then also part two, remember, technology is not given freely. Let our legislature, everybody in all the state and national assemblies know it's not given freely. You either buy it, you either study it, and the most important one, you either steal it with my full clear eyes. So hey,
you can partner, you can partner and borrow
And they come and teach us.
or they can teach us. Why are we stealing?
We've been partnering with oil companies before I was born, and we are still here. Now, we are going to say thank you very much for being there, hanging in there, and being part of this production. My name is Souq, John Roger Souq. You can follow me on CGUVNOR, that's C Governor, on all social media platforms. I've not been here alone. I've had the best set of people to banter with today. So, hey, Your Excellencies, please, Moyo.
Thank you so much for having me. Moyosore Adebiyi. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Moyo Lagos. Thank you.
Thank you, Priye.
Yes, many thanks for watching. You can follow me on Oyinpreye 8 on Instagram and Oyinpreye 5 on Twitter. Thanks for watching.
And to the beautiful one, Bola.
I'm curious about the 5 and 8, but it's fine. It's Omobola Sandra on all platforms. Thank you very much.